Welcome to the Let's Get Vulnerable podcast. It's your host, Dr. Morgan, and today you are in for a real treat. I have a special episode for you. I'm being interviewed by my friend, Dr. Lauren Fitz. Lauren is an incredible wellness educator. She helps people be preventative. She's helping you understand your hormones, how to stay healthy. But today's interview is actually all about my area of expertise, attachment styles, and using applied attachment theory to finally take control of your love life and attract the relationship you deserve. So, this is a highly valuable interview. She is so vulnerable and she asked me all the questions that you would want to ask me. So I just know you're going to really love this interview. You're going to love Lauren. She's super vulnerable about her story. And I can't wait for you to hear this interview. And obviously, if you want to connect with Lauren, go find her on Instagram. She also has an incredible YouTube channel. She's on Instagram at Dr. Lauren Fitz. So Dr. Lauren Fitz. Go check her out. She's a good friend of mine, and I know that she's going to have incredible resources for you if you're working on your health and fitness. All right, without further ado, enjoy this episode. It is a juicy one, it's a vulnerable one. I know it's going to be so helpful to you.
Hello and welcome to the Made Fitz Show. I am your host, Dr. Lauren Fitz, and I do not have my co-host, Melissa Made, with us today, but I am interviewing someone that I adore. I'm really excited about this, but I actually just told her that I just tagged her on my Instagram stories because I'm a little bit nervous about today because we're going to be talking about relationships, and she is a relationship expert when it comes to attachment styles, and that's her specialty, but she's got a lot of other specialties. But Morgan, thank you for being a guest today. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited to talk with you. And I know we're going to get vulnerable. We're going to get real. And we're going to help some people. So I can't wait.
Absolutely. So let me kind of tell the audience a little bit about how you and I met. You are an entrepreneur as well. You are a licensed therapist. And we met at a business workshop in Las Vegas that was led by Alex and Layla Hermosi. And we just totally hit it off. I mean, I could tell you just had great energy. We just immediately started talking all the things. And I had a feeling that we would talk again after meeting in Vegas.
So absolutely. Even when it was 124 degrees outside, I was still so happy to chat with you. And
it was hot as balls. Let's be real.
Yeah. Yes.
When we were in Vegas, it was the hottest temperature that they had like on record ever, right?
Yes.
I mean, yeah, it was hot as balls. But the topic that we're going to talk about today is pretty hot as well. So attachment styles. Can you kind of tell the audience a little bit about your background and how you got in? Because I know a lot of therapists don't even go in this realm. Is that safe to say?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I grew up like a lot of people who find themselves in the clinical psychology world. I grew up with my own share of childhood trauma. So from a young age, had a lot going on in my own home. And then, of course, when I started dating in my teens, I started to attract emotionally unavailable partners. And it kind of seemed like it would just get worse and worse. And I had these terrible dating patterns. And I was actually in my second year of getting my doctorate. I was living in Portland, Oregon. And I found myself in a relationship with a narcissist. Oh. And you know how it goes. The first 6 months, love bombing. I was getting flown around. I was getting designer handbags. And I thought, okay, I met my Prince Charming. This is it.
Right.
And then 6 months in, it just slowly started to crash and burn. And along with it, I really hit this low self-worth, rock bottom place. At the end of that relationship, I was just a complete mess and I was isolated from friends and family. And I really had this fork in the road of, okay, I can keep doing this.
Yeah.
And this is incredibly painful. I can keep these dating patterns going. Or maybe I could learn how to have a healthy relationship. Just maybe. And I think I was just in so much pain that I was forced to decide, okay, there has to be a different way.
Right.
And then
Right.
that's when I threw myself into researching attachment styles and understanding how to apply it to relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And I've spent years figuring it out for myself and really doing
Okay.
my own healing work.
Right.
And then I slowly started to help clients. And now I mean, I've helped thousands of people become securely attached. And I'm in a healthy, secure relationship, getting married next year. And I've just completely changed my relationships around. And I want to help as many people as possible do that.
Well, and I think you're in kind of the same boat that I'm in, where patients come to me and trust me because I have shown I've been through, I've struggled with the midlife weight.
Yes.
I've I'm doing my own BHRT. Like, people come to me because I've been vulnerable with them, showing them my journey, and they trust me more because they know I've been there, done that. I understand the struggles, but look, I'm on the other side, and this is what I'm going to help you get to. Right.
Absolutely. And it's so much, I think having that clinical knowledge, the science knowledge that we have, but then also having that emotional knowledge of knowing what it feels like to
Yeah,
be in that position, I think it really positions us to really help people and know what they need. So yeah,
for
I'm
sure.
so happy to be on this side of it and helping people now.
I
It
bet.
feels so good.
Feels so good, for sure. Well, first of all, congratulations. I know I already said congratulations on your upcoming wedding. That's amazing.
Thank you.
So let's just get down and get vulnerable, because the name of your podcast is Let's Get Vulnerable, which is
Yes.
amazing.
Yes.
So on Let's Get Vulnerable, what is your goal to for that podcast and that platform?
So I spend a lot of time talking about attachment styles and helping you understand what it means in your dating life and in your relationship life, and then giving people tools so that they can become securely attached and
Okay.
move towards that securely attached place. And then obviously, I also share a lot of my own past experiences and things that I've gone through, and I'm very vulnerable, and I
Yep.
think people relate to it. So hopefully it helps people feel less alone, feel
Yeah.
empowered, and get the skills that they need to become more securely attached.
Right, right. And it doesn't matter how old you are, you can have issues with attachment styles. Is that correct?
Absolutely. I help women in their 50s and their 60s. I think
Mm,
even in their 70s. I think an attachment issue will always be there until you address it.
mm. Okay. So let's define the different attachment issues. I've dug deep into this. So when you told me that this is your area of expertise, I'm like, oh boy, this was a God thing. I was supposed to meet her. But for my audience that hasn't dove deep into this arena, can you do a little quick tutorial on the different attachment styles?
Absolutely. And I think it's important that people know once you identify yourself, I don't want you to use that as a way to judge yourself. This is simply a tool. This is a way to understand yourself better and a way to help you become more secure.
Mm,
So sometimes I'll have clients who are like, well, I'm anxious and my partner's avoidant, and there's labeling everyone. They're like, that's not what we want. This is
no.
just a helpful tool. It's going to help us understand and have compassion so we
Yeah.
can change.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
My little disclaimer.
I love it.
Uh,
It's a great disclaimer.
yes. But attachment theory, so it actually started in the 1950s and it was originally researched with parents and children. So it
Okay.
was understanding that parent-child dynamic. It
Yeah.
was John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth, and they looked at how children responded to their mothers when the mom would leave the child and then come back and join the child. So anyways, there's so much research on this, and of course over time attachment styles have been applied to romantic relationships, which is how I mainly use them in that context, but
Right.
also your work life, your friendships, how you respond to money, even, right? This
Yeah.
attachment styles can be applied to every single relationship in your life. But
Interesting.
I
Okay.
look at them from the romantic context. So,
Right. Right.
um, yeah, so there's four styles. The first one I'll talk about is anxious attachment.
Okay.
And anxious attachment, in a nutshell, it's where you are overvaluing your partner and devaluing yourself. So
Oh,
you're
can you say that again, please?
overvaluing your partner and devaluing yourself. So many women find themselves
Mm,
here, right?
yes. Yes.
Where your
I'm not,
partner's needs matter
I'm
more.
ashamed to admit it, but that's 100% where I'm at.
I can't wait to do a deep dive. We need to talk about we're going to talk about your attachment style and go all into
All
it. I want
right.
to hear
All
all the
right.
things.
Yep. Yep.
And then with anxious attachment, I think it's important to realize that this is a style where you have fear of abandonment, and it's like your reassurance bucket has holes in it, meaning no matter how much reassurance your partner gives you, you're not able to internalize it. So you
Mm,
don't ever really feel emotionally safe in the relationship.
yep.
So there's that constant waiting for the other shoe to drop. What's going on? Oh my gosh, they liked that girl's picture on Instagram. Are they having an affair with her? The brain's
Hmm.
constantly catastrophizing scenarios.
Yep. Yep.
This is an exhausting attachment style, of course.
It is exhausting. And I think that living in 2024 with social media the way it is, it's really, I bet there's so many women that can relate with everything you just said.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Okay, so then moving on, we have avoidant attachment style. And this is where you are devaluing your partner and overvaluing yourself, not in a narcissistic way, but in a way where intimacy is actually scary. So relying on someone else is really challenging. Having someone rely on you is really hard. And essentially, the closer you get to someone, you're going to have more unconscious urges to pull away to yes.
Yep.
So this is that, let's say you go on a date and it's incredible and you deeply connect and you're just vibing, you have the best date ever, and then you don't hear from the person for a week.
Hmm.
They likely felt that intimacy, had those fears come up, and then they had to distance. So that would be an example of an avoidant response.
Hmm. More stereotypically found in men, but you can see that in women as well. But that's kind of more
Yes.
stereotypically men are the avoidant, more stereotypically women are anxious style. Is that
And
correct?
I'm glad you brought that up because it's so fascinating, the research on this. There are more and more women now with avoidant attachment style. You're right.
Interesting.
It used to be that way.
Okay.
And now there's just an increase. And actually, this is sad to me, but avoidant attachment is the attachment style that's increasing the most of
Wow.
all the attachment styles. But it makes sense, doesn't it?
No,
In
it
a
does.
world where we're hyper independent, even though we're
Yep.
connected on social media, we're not really connected. We're
No.
not deeply emotionally connected to people like we
Correct.
were.
Correct.
So avoidant attachment is the style I see more and more and more.
Wow.
Um, anyways, moving on. There's two
Yep.
more. So then we have disorganized attachment style. This was mine for a long time, and this is where you have the super fun combination of anxious and avoidant at the same
Okay.
time. Obviously, I'm being
Lovely.
sarcastic, but
Yeah.
it's very challenging because you're experiencing the fear of abandonment, but
Yep.
also that need to be hyper independent at the same time. So you're just push pull in your relationships.
Wow.
Hmm.
That does not
And then
sound fun to be in either.
no. And that style is highly correlated with childhood trauma. And typically you experience relationships as moving really, really quick, and then all
Okay.
of a sudden they're done. So there's a
Wow.
lot of moving at a fast pace and then the relationship is done.
Okay.
So that's a very painful style as well.
Yeah.
And then finally, secure
The
attachment,
goal.
where we all want to be.
Yes. Correct. Where we all want to be.
Yeah, where my needs matter and your needs matter. And I value myself and I value you.
Right.
And we have interdependence instead of codependence or hyper independence. Interdependence is I know I can depend on myself, I can self soothe, and I can also go to you as my partner to help meet my needs.
Hmm.
So I have that healthy balance, right? And with secure attachment, we value relationships, they bring us joy, and we also value the relationship with ourselves, and we're taking
Yeah.
care of ourselves as well.
Right.
So It's where we all want to be.
That is goal. Yeah, that is goal. I will get vulnerable today. I'm okay with getting vulnerable. I did not anticipate being 44-year-old female and still being single. I got divorced in 2016, so almost 8 years ago. And I did not anticipate that I would have the struggles that I've had in the last 8 years of being single, post divorce, and dating. And I don't have issues with anxious attachment with any other of my relationships, but I have definitely, I mean, I attract the avoidant, and it has been a theme in relationships since I've gone through divorce.
I so appreciate you sharing that. And I think just realizing that, gosh, when there's things that have been a pattern and that it's painful, obviously,
It
to deal
is.
with. I think what's so easy for us to do is just focus on all the other areas of our life, like
Totally.
building an incredible career that you have, or
Yes.
taking care of your health, or even your own friendships or family, right? And
Absolutely.
I just think there's so much power in doing what you're doing right now, where you're
Yeah.
saying, okay, and this area of my life, I really want to work on, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm really successful in all the other areas, but this is an area that I mean, I legit feel shame, that I,
Hmm.
yeah, it's the reality, and I have a feeling that a lot of people can relate with that verbiage.
Oh, absolutely. And I think it's this whole awareness of our intimate relationships are just different than any
Yeah.
other relationship that we have. If you think about evolutionary psychology, the way that we are as humans, your partner is literally helping you survive, right?
Right.
Like that's
Totally.
it is your most vulnerable relationship. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really normal for us to have amazing friendships or incredible career and great family relationships, but then
Yeah.
in our romantic relationships we're struggling because it's our most vulnerable, scary relationship. And then not to mention, and this is what, if you're open to, I'd love to dive into a little bit with you, but
Absolutely.
it's the relationship where all of your past romantic experiences are getting pulled into it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you
Absolutely.
feel like that's part of it for you, is some of your past experiences?
I've tried to figure this out, and I guess that's why I would love to work with someone like you because in my prior relationships, I never had any of this anxious attachment style anything. And I'm trying to figure out what it was that triggered me to move in from a secure, even though, I mean, obviously the relationship ended in divorce, but I mean, I've had only secure relationships before that. And then once entered into single life as a, 36-year-old female, it's been a struggle.
Yeah. And sometimes it's just that experience of divorce and all of the things that come with that. I think what's really important to realize is our attachment styles can change, just as you're saying.
I was going to ask you about that.
Because old research used to say, oh, whatever it was when you were a child, that's what it will be for your life. And that's
Right.
actually been disproven. We know that your relational experiences throughout your life can change your attachment style. And that is good news for you because that means you can have corrective
Yay.
experiences. You can have a
And
healthy, great relationships that will help you become secure.
that's the goal. And ultimately working with someone like you is definitely something that I need, without a doubt.
Well, I mean, obviously, you would be just a dream client to work with because I just adore you. But what I would say is this is like traditional psychotherapy focuses so much on just understanding the
Right.
past.
Right.
And I think what happens is sometimes we go, okay, I have all the awareness. I understand the past of what happened, right? I know.
Yep.
But
Yep.
then how do we move forward and how do we do something different?
Yes. How do I not
And
end up in another relationship with an avoidant man? That's really what I want to know.
yeah, well, let's talk about this. So,
Yeah.
one thing I teach my clients that I'd love to share with you and share with
Yeah.
your audience because it's gold is something called repetition compulsion.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of
Expand.
this?
No, definitely not.
Okay, so this was something that Freud contributed actually.
Okay.
So there's a few good things he contributed. This was one of
Yeah.
them. And it's this idea that in our relationships, when we are repeating patterns, it's very common for us to repeat the same relationship dynamic over and over. And it can be tied to unfinished business from our past, usually
Okay.
unconscious.
Okay.
And what's happening is the brain is saying, okay, this time I can get a different result.
Hmm.
This time I can get the unavailable man to choose me.
Hmm.
And if we go
Okay.
really deep into your brain and look at your relationship beliefs and beliefs about yourself, there's probably a belief that would be healed then. So you go, okay, if I could get him to choose me, then that would mean I am enough or
Yeah.
I am worthy of love or
Yeah.
whatever. Does any
Yeah.
of that
Oh, yeah.
resonate?
Totally resonates. Absolutely.
And for a client like you, I'm almost curious, like, was there some dating experiences that even impacted you when you left your marriage and then experienced some, I don't know.
I look back. So how the last few months of my marriage looked like, um, I had never had any insecurities, never even once thought he was messing with any other female or anything. He was a physician as well. And we'd been married for maybe 7 or 8 years. And I was walking by, and this was literally 2 months before everything went downhill and filed for divorce. But I saw it was a Facebook Messenger notification on his phone. And I was walking by the kitchen and I saw it was a female, and I just asked him, and the way he answered, and that was the very first time that I ever started to feel like, and he wouldn't show me the message. And now, mind you, fast forward literally a month later was when he got his second DUI. And I think, as far as I know, he's still sober, but he was a highly functioning alcoholic. And 3 years prior, he'd had his first DUI. And I told him, I will go through this one time, but if this keeps happening, I'm not going to stay around. Now, I'm not sure if that was the right thing to do, but that was his second DUI was when I said enough. But that whole, you know, Facebook Messenger thing happened right a month before. And I feel like that might have triggered that unknown insecurity in me. I've never been insecure in relationships. And
Yeah.
here I am 8 years later.
There's so much I could talk about with you with this, and I don't want us to get too vulnerable today. But
Right.
Lauren, I so appreciate you sharing that. I think so many people can relate. And
Yeah.
one thing I just want to point out, because I think this will help some people listening and hopefully
Yeah.
help you, is
Yeah.
that when someone is struggling with an active addiction, whether it's alcohol or anything else, that actually leads them to be very emotionally unavailable
Yes.
because they're in that relationship with the addiction. So
Definitely.
whether you consciously realize it or not, you were in a relationship with someone who was more avoidantly attached and emotionally unavailable. And
Good
somewhere
point.
along the way, that probably became your emotional home.
Hmm. That makes sense. That makes sense.
So I think just for all of us realizing that, wow, when someone who's emotionally unavailable, when that's my emotional home, to even allow myself to be attracted to somebody who's securely attached and emotionally available and wants to get to know me,
Yeah.
even just the thought of that could feel very dysregulating to your nervous system because it's
Yeah.
not what you're used to.
Yeah.
Do you have
Definitely.
any, can we talk about that in
Of
your
course.
dating? Have you had anyone where you go, oh, they're too nice or they're too emotionally available?
I mean, yeah, definitely. For sure. But ones that I really wasn't attracted to. So I think that I was in a relationship that actually brought me from I lived in Southern California for a few years and was dating a man that I met on an online dating site, and we dated long distance. He's here in Chicago and I was in California. And after dating long distance, I moved here. Now, definitely I, I don't want to throw shade on him, but definitely had the love bombing thing. And then
Mm.
definitely ultimately ended up being avoidant. But moved here and was in that relationship for about 3 years. And it was pretty traumatic how it ended. And it was, it took me a good 6 months to a year before I started even dating again. And then dating in your 40s as a female who owns a business, and it's been challenging. It's been really challenging.
I have so much compassion for you and so much empathy, honestly. And I think that what's really great is that you have this awareness. And
Yeah,
once we can go, okay, the patterns that are happening here are not serving me.
definitely
I
not.
I want to show up differently. I mean, it's the
Yes.
same with your clients, right? When you realize it's like, okay, there's something I have control over that I can change.
Yes. Yes.
And just realizing that you deserve a relationship where it's actually easy,
Hmm.
where someone wants to build something with you very intentionally, where
Yeah.
I always say you're co-creating secure attachment and
Yes.
you're so worthy and deserving of that. And they should be in the same city as you because that's actually something that happens a lot of times with anxious attachment. Ask me how I know. I mean, I
Yeah.
used to love to date people who were in different countries. That was my thing. Like
I
if I
love
have to
it.
fly out of the country, then
Sign
I'm
me
your
up.
girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because what happens is it's like this pull of, oh, I can get you to choose me. I
Yeah.
can get you to choose me. And there's also this fantasy element of it. It feels safer
Yeah.
of I don't have to actually be very, very close to you. I can have this distance between us and my brain can kind of fill in the blanks about who you are. And that's
Mm.
actually going to feel a lot safer to me than somebody who's in my town.
Hmm. That's a very good point. That makes
So I
sense.
I always encourage people, I say, okay, when we're becoming securely attached, we want to look at people in our zip code.
Okay, fair. Fair. It's
Yeah.
challenging though, because I mean, I live in, St. Charles, Illinois. It's, a suburb of the suburbs of Chicago. And I mean, I'm not, I don't drink, so I'm not a partier. I own a med spa, which it's mostly females that come in. And
Yes.
the idea of getting on dating apps again is just like, ever since the last relationship went sour, I've just kind of been putting my head into my business and kind of being avoidant of the fact that I'm
Yes.
I'm not ready to be single again. I mean, I am single again, but the whole dating idea just it's exhausting.
And when I have clients who get to that place, which it's so common, obviously you know this, you are not alone. There are a lot of people who are just completely burnt out on
Yes.
dating.
Yes.
I talk with a lot of them. And what I always tell people is, okay, there's some things we need to clear out from your past
Yeah,
because it's like you're carrying around this backpack with bricks on
definitely.
it and
Yeah.
you're approaching your dating life with the things from the past. And of course it feels almost impossible and really scary or brings up anxiety, right? So
Yeah.
we need to let go of the past and get you to a place where you're excited to date and you're confident.
Oh,
And when we become secure, this is why I love what I do. When we become securely attached, we are attracted to a new type of partner, and that new type of partner is also attracted to us. So then
mm,
we start having different dating experiences, and then that really gets us excited about dating and it helps us really find our person.
right.
Because you're not going to
Right.
keep doing something. It's like a workout routine. You know this.
Yeah.
You're not going to keep working out if it's miserable and you hate it. You got to go buy that cute gym outfit, get your
Yep.
workout playlist. So
Yep.
same with dating. If you don't enjoy it, you're not going to keep doing it. So
Right.
that's why we have to get you to a secure place where
Yeah.
then you can go and really enjoy dating so that you can keep doing it until you find your person.
So how do you do that?
So I have a four-step process. This
Okay.
is what I've dedicated my life and research to basically. And the first thing that we do is we uncover your past. So
Okay.
I think that's one thing that some coaches don't do, and it bothers me because you
Yeah.
can't just manifest your way into a
No.
new relationship.
No.
We do have to look at your past.
Yeah.
So we start there
Okay.
and we look at the patterns. And I always tell people once you understand your patterns and why you do what you do, then you can let them go.
Hmm. Okay. Okay.
So that's the first part. We're looking at your patterns, understanding why you do what you do in relationships so that we can then intentionally let it go.
Okay.
And then the second step of what I do is I help clients intentionally rewire their brain with healthy beliefs about themselves and healthy relationship beliefs.
Okay.
Because
I
there's a
like
lot
that.
of people that will focus on beliefs about yourself, but there's not enough about, okay, let's develop healthy relationship belief systems.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
It's crazy because I have healthy beliefs about every other aspect of my life, but these beliefs when it comes to this topic are not healthy, and I'm very aware of that.
Yeah. And it's so unconscious. And obviously it impacts everything.
Everything. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically we rewire your brain with healthy relationship belief systems. And then the third thing is learning how to embody the securely attached woman. This is one of my favorite things
Okay.
because you're learning who is securely attached to you and
Okay.
how does she communicate? How does she show up? What kind of boundaries does she set?
Right.
How do we help you have that regulated nervous system, right, in your relationships? So it's really that what does it feel like in your body to be the secure woman in her
Mm.
relationships?
Hmm. Because I know how it feels in every other relationship. That is who I am. But why I can't transition that in that department is just, it's beyond me, you know?
Yeah, and what I say there is I just know that you have whether it's unconscious likely, but there's just those past trauma
Yeah.
blocks
Yeah.
that are preventing you from doing that in your romantic relationships. So that's why, we have to clear it out. Make
Makes
space for
sense.
what you want, right? Like we have to start there.
Yes.
And then the final step, this is fun. It's really all of the skills that we were never taught that someone should have taught us about relationships. So
Yes.
how to have healthy communication and navigate conflict in a healthy way. I have a structure for couples I call dialogue, and
Okay.
it's a framework for
Okay.
navigating conflict in a
Okay.
healthy way.
Okay.
And then, of course, I have all kinds of dating skills as well and learning about red flags, yellow flags, green flags, all the things we need to know. And then
Uh-huh.
another one that's so important in this final piece is relationship pacing, teaching people how to pace their emotional investment as they're
Okay.
building a relationship.
What does that look like?
So, a lot of times with an insecure attachment style, whether you're anxious or avoidant, you're not pacing your emotional investment very well. You're
Okay.
either not opening up at all if you're avoidant, or you're going head over heels and you're investing super quickly if you have anxious attachment.
Okay.
So, I teach people how do we invest emotionally in a way that is securely attached and creates that secure foundation for the relationship.
Okay. Okay. So what you're saying is that I'm not a lost cause.
No,
That's
no,
good.
I have helped so many people. I'm actually going to a wedding next month in Central Park, and it's a woman in her late 40s,
Yeah.
and I had the pleasure of coaching her and her husband,
Wow.
and they're getting married, and it's like they both became secure later
Right.
in life, and now they have this beautiful relationship because of it. They intentionally chose it. So no, it's never too late.
Good. That's good to know. And is it possible that doing the proper work that I can have the healthy relationship that I feel like I'm supposed to have, and I'm supposed to have that person that I grow old with. That's what I want, that I share my life with.
It is so possible and you're so deserving of it. And yes, it's 1000%. I believe as soon as you clear the blocks, it's already on its way to you,
I love that.
right? Yeah.
Yep. I love that. So, what are some common mistakes that you see in current dating world 2024?
Oh boy. There's a lot.
There's a whole, A whole lot. And there's a few specific questions, but answer that one first, please.
I think one thing people do is they're trying to build a relationship on the dating app, and dating apps are not relationship building tools.
No.
You should not have a pen pal. You should not be spending a ton of time on the dating apps. I think of dating apps as opportunity creation tools.
Okay.
So you're simply going, oh, I have this opportunity, I have this connection. And
Okay.
then as soon as you can, have the phone call, go on the coffee date, do something very low investment, but
Yeah.
just get a sense, do I want to get to know this person or not? And
Right.
then move on. Don't spend 3 weeks or months with somebody on a dating app. It's just a waste of your time.
So
So
do you think that you should, like, from the moment that you connect, maybe even FaceTime with a person to see if you even want to spend time with coffee?
so I think you can have a couple days or maybe even like 3 to 4 days of some back to forth. You just want
Right.
to make sure there's a little bit of a connection, right?
Right. Right.
And then, yes, I like a FaceTime or a phone call
Yeah.
first. And
Yes.
then, okay, let's go get a coffee. This is the pacing.
Right.
Please don't go out and have a 3 hour first date
Yeah. No.
because I want people to realize that your energy is so valuable
Right.
and people need to earn that emotional investment from you. You need to think of yourself as the love scientist. You're gathering the
Fair.
data on the
Okay.
relationship, and you're
Okay.
learning, do I want to invest my precious emotional energy into this
Right.
connection?
Right.
And on a first date, you need something low investment.
Yeah,
You
I
don't
agree.
know, am I ready to invest time in this or not?
For sure. For sure. So you're not anti-dating apps then?
No, I think they're great for opportunity creation. I just think don't use them to build a relationship because it's an easy way to build a fantasy relationship.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
don't have any real data on who the person is.
For
Your
sure.
brain's just filling in the dots about who they could be.
I'm going to be honest. I was actually just talking about this with a friend just the other day. Like, the idea of getting back on the dating apps literally gives me PTSD.
All that is
It's
a sign that we need to let go of some things.
probably so. Probably so. You're the professional. So,
Yes.
it's been a while since I've been on the dating apps, but I just remember so many men just want to text back and forth. And I mean, that's so hard to navigate because I'm not interested in having a texting buddy. Like, let's figure out
Yeah,
if we groove with each other, and if not, move on. You know?
exactly. And you get to have that boundary.
Yes, exactly, exactly. So for the person who is either gone through a breakup or a divorce, what's the best piece of advice that you can give that person, whether it be a female or a male?
Honestly, it's what we've been talking about a lot today, which is it's really important that you're healing from your past before you're putting yourself out there because we don't want you to take your unfinished business from your past relationship and be projecting it onto people that you're dating or, finding yourself in the same dynamic. So it's very important make sure that you have worked through what's happened as much as you can and that you've let it go and that you're excited about dating and that I like to think of it as you can come to dating with a blank slate
Okay. Okay. I like that.
where
Is
you're
it is
not.
it is it possible to work through that healing without the help of a professional?
I think it's very hard. I don't think I personally think that everybody deserves to do it with the help of a professional
Yeah.
because there's simply things that you're just not going to see. And then there's things that would just take you way too long to figure out on your own and you don't deserve to waste that time in my opinion.
Now, you don't currently work one-on-one anymore, right?
I do.
You do.
I
Okay.
do. I have very few spots.
Okay. That's what because I think all your spots were full last time I talked to you. So I,
Yeah.
can we talk about your online community though?
Yes. Yes. I have a program, the Empowered.Secure.Loved program, and it is coursework, but it's also coaching. And I have hand selected three of the best coaches. They all have clinical backgrounds. They're like little mini me's. and they've all been through the program and had incredible transformations themselves. So, I mean, we have incredible coaches inside of my program because it's really important to me that even if you're not working with me, that you're still working with a coach because I
Absolutely.
think that's helpful. I don't want to just give you a course and say good luck,
Right.
you
Right.
know? So, yeah, we have this community and it gives you lifetime access to that 4-step framework I talked to you about. We have all the
Right.
content on that. But then we also have the one-on-one coaching. And I still do a weekly group call with that group
Nice.
as well. So you can
Nice.
get on and ask me any question you want. And that community is just incredible. It's like,
Yeah.
think of like the most supportive girlfriends who are on the same journey as you, and everyone just supports each other. It's like just the best. I love my community so much.
I love it. So if a person didn't quite have the means to work one-on-one with you, that would be probably the next best thing.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay. And then
Absolutely.
I mean, when I started binge listening to your podcast is full of free content that people
Yeah.
can, but that's one reason why I asked, because I think a lot of people try and go through the healing process on their own with all of the podcasts and self-help books, and I can do it myself, and that's what I've been doing for 8 years, and here I am. So
Totally. I think, and yeah, it's like, it's a whole different thing when you invest in something and you're
yeah.
going, okay, I am going to really show up. I've invested in this. It just
Mm-hmm.
completely changes your approach to it. And I just think, once again, there's things we can't see. Like, you can't
Yeah.
see the back of your neck.
Right.
There's just things you can't see that when you work with a coach, it's going to get pointed out to you with tough love, but it'll get pointed out to you. And then you can just move through your healing so much more quickly.
Yeah.
I am so sick of people spending a decade in therapy trying to get over their relationship issues. This is why I created my program. I mean,
Right.
it's 8 weeks to 12 weeks long, depending. And I believe that within that time frame, you can become securely attached on the other side of that and be
Mm.
completely ready to go date. So I don't want you to waste years of your life. Like, let's just change this so you can go attract your person and move on with your life.
I literally can relate with that scenario, because when I went through divorce, I saw a therapist and I just felt like I'm not I'm just sitting, I'm paying her to hear me talk, and
Yeah.
I got nothing good out of it. I can literally say nothing good out of it. And I wish I would have found you at that point, because I do think that would have made a huge difference.
Yeah. And Lauren, I mean, obviously, we know therapy's good and it's helpful. It gives people awareness. And I hear so many people say that it's like, okay, I have the awareness, but now what? How do I actually change?
Exactly.
How do I actually do something different? And me being a psychologist for years and wanting to coach people, I just finally said, okay, enough is enough. I'm making a program that's going to tell people exactly what to do, because I was tired of not being able to tell people, because as a psychologist, you can't do that. We
Yeah.
can't give direct advice. So
Right.
it's just, I created what I needed, and it turns out a lot of people needed it as
A
well.
lot of people, a lot of people. Well, I think I'm going to get into your community, but I'm also going to get into one of those last spots that you have available,
Let's
and
go.
let's get some work done, because I recognize that this is an area that I haven't been able to figure out on my own, and it's the one area of my life that I'm not fulfilled in. I'm fulfilled in I love my job. I love my family. I love my friends. My health is at its peak. But my relationship status is not the greatest.
Oh, I'm so excited to help you. I can't wait. It's going to be great. And
Absolutely.
I'm so, so thrilled to be on your show. And I can't wait to have you on my show on Let's Get Vulnerable. There's just so many people who need what you offer as well. So I'm really happy to be connected to you.
I feel the same. I can't wait to help your audience with my wheelhouse that I feel really good and confident about. And I definitely, my audience knows that I have no problem getting vulnerable, because I really do believe that ultimately, when we show our vulnerabilities, it's how we empower other people. So while I will keep the journey with you private, I will share little tidbits along the way and hopefully give some people hope. But I know that this interview has given a lot of people hope, because there are a lot of people out there that can relate. I know can relate
Yes.
with all of the things that I said. And the attachment style we all desire is to be in that secured, safe place with our person that we grow old with. So
Yes, everyone is deserving of that. Everybody listening, I want everybody to know you're not too broken. It's not too late. You're so deserving of healthy, secure love.
yes, and I'm gonna claim that. And I'm with that, I'm going to wrap this up by saying thank you so much for taking your most valuable asset, your time, to spend with me and the Made Fits audience. I know that they will love you. We will make sure that we share all of your good stuff on our social media platforms. For those of you that are following along, make sure that you go follow her. Your Instagram handle is
Dr. Morgan Coaching. So Dr. Morgan Coaching.
and then your website where that they can potentially enroll in the community is what?
Just www.drmorgancoaching.com. We just changed it. So yeah,
I
it's
love
simple.
it. Nice and easy. Nice and
Yeah.
easy. Excellent. And then make sure her podcast is legit. It's really awesome. So you will binge listen to it if you are someone like me that's struggling with the relationship thing. So I thank you guys for taking the time to listen to this. Make sure you share, tag, and do all of the things. Morgan, thank you again for your time. I appreciate you so much. I look forward to being on your podcast. It's going to be an honor. And remember, you get one life. You don't get a dress rehearsal. So go out and make the abundant life that you were meant to live. Thank you guys so much.